各位觀眾大家好，歡迎收睇26分鐘見證實錄。2020年有調查就發現，加拿大每個家庭丟棄嘅食物有高達63%係可以食用㗎，但係就被浪費咗。主要嘅原因並非係食物唔安全，而係認為唔夠新鮮。有居住喺溫哥華嘅居民喺知道食物浪費情況咁嚴重之後就喺本地創立咗 Vancouver Food Runners 一個手機應用程式，去透過程式配對起義工同埋商戶，將嗰啲可食用嘅食材運送俾社區機構，然後再分發至所需嘅家庭。而家就等我哋一齊去睇睇整個團隊係點樣進行搶救食物，減少浪費啊
！So we would like to reduce our food waste in general, which unfortunately happened in a business like that. And one opportunity is to donate.
Thank you so much.
Here, also. Once you kind of see like how much food you're actually like bringing from like the restaurants to the shelters, you can actually like you'll actually realize like the impact of the doing the rescues, I guess.
Vancouver Food Runners, partnering with local charities, is putting fresh, healthy, quality food into the hands of local families that need it and seeing that food waste reduce drastically.
I'm a mom of 4 little kids, and when I found out that 1 in 6 kids in Vancouver go to school hungry, it was a really shocking statistic for me, and I really want to find a way to try and help.
Tristan Jack 係一名有4個小朋友嘅母親，佢嘅子女健康活潑，享受住無憂無慮嘅童年。當佢得知喺本國生產嘅所有食品之中，竟然有高達近60%被浪費或者丟棄，而喺卑詩省每8個家庭就有1個要面對糧食不足嘅問題，佢就開始認為係時候要去做一啲嘢。
I also saw the disconnect between so much food being wasted in Vancouver and the amount of people that needed it. And because it's such a small city, really, it's 15 kilometers, I was trying to find a way that we could get food to people that needed it.
喺得知本國食品浪費嘅情況咁嚴重之後，佢開始喺空閒嘅時間花大量嘅精神喺網絡搜索相關嘅資料。試圖了解，例如係美國等其他國家係點樣處理食物浪費問題。經過一輪資料搜集之後，佢了解到一名居住喺美國匹茲堡嘅女子最先創立咗名為 Food Rescue Hero 嘅應用程式。
And then this technology became available, and I thought that it was a really innovative way to solve the problem.
Tristan 下定決心，亦都要喺加拿大創立一個類似嘅送食物網絡。佢哋係要將餐館或者係超市篩選落嚟冇出售價值但係依然可以食用嘅新鮮食品運送到非牟利機構。喺計劃初期，包括佢在內只有3個人，但係最終佢哋都係成功創立咗名為 Vancouver Food Runners 嘅非牟利食材運送網絡平台。
So what happens is we get a call from a food distributor, cafe, restaurant, caterer, a produce place, a grocery store, and they say they have this amount of food left over, and we match it with a community partner. And so we match the food and we put it up onto an app called the Vancouver Food Runners app, and volunteers can be notified when the match is made between the food supplier and the community partner, and then they can go and pick up the food and take it directly to the people that need it.
Tristan 表示，開始運作該網絡嘅初期遇到好多樽頸位。過去一啲社區嘅非牟利機構亦都有接觸一啲願意提供食品嘅商家，但係好多都不了了之，令佢哋好難去信任真係有提供者能夠同佢哋嘅需求匹配起嚟。同時，由於呢一個係十分新型嘅送貨方式，喺說服食品提供嘅時候， Tristan 嘅小團隊亦都面對好多嘅困難。
At the beginning, it's a lot of food donors, they didn't trust that a volunteer would show up and pick up the food, because in the past that was just not something that would always work out for them, and then they'd end up having to throw it out.
初期喺同潛在供應方溝通嘅時候 ，Tristan 了解到有好多食品供應商其實係有環保嘅意識，並且願意將企業生產剩落嚟嘅可食用商品捐贈社區組織。但係其中嘅挑戰係有時雙方都唔方便送貨或者上門攞貨，導致最終食品都係丟棄，造成浪費。Tristan 原本計劃係喺2020年6月先至啟動 Vancouver Food Runners 平台。但係疫情嘅來襲，食品供應短缺，好多社區慈善機構都去揾佢幫忙，令佢改變計劃，提前啟動該平台。
When the pandemic hit in March, we decided to launch it earlier because the need for food was so strong. So a lot of our community partners that we had been talking to had called us and just said the lineups are so long for food. Is there a way we can start the Vancouver Food Runners app and launch it now? And so we did. And during the pandemic, the food need grew so much. People that were working, like community partners that were potentially working on, counseling or whatever it might have been, they actually shifted completely to feed people. So places that weren't accepting food, now everybody needed food.
唔單止係咁，疫情期間政府為咗作出應對，好多時對餐廳隨時更改限制措施，喺好短時間之內要求佢哋暫停營業。但係咁樣，餐廳之前儲存咗嘅食材就變得用唔着。從佢哋打嚟嘅電話，令到 Tristan 同佢嘅團隊十分忙碌。有商鋪甚至話俾佢哋知道，儲存咗好多龍蝦同埋生蠔，如果唔能夠幫忙聯絡所需社區團體，佢哋只能夠丟棄。
We all know during COVID, the restaurants really suffered. It was really hard for them. They would get a call from the government saying they had to shut down within 24 hours and they had just maybe done a food order. And so luckily, they would call Vancouver Food Runners and we would go and take all that amazing food from them and place it in a community partner's hands that could deal with it. I think that the restaurants, as hard as it was, I was very, very amazed that they were thinking of others in such a challenging time in their career as well.
從2020年3月至今2年過去啦 ，Vancouver Food Runners 網絡一步步擴大，獲得咗供應商同社區慈善團體雙方嘅信任。從最初好難揾到可以提供食物嘅餐廳、超市等嘅供應一方，現時已經發展到有超過160多個企業同佢哋合作，將企業剩落嚟嘅優質食品進行捐贈。呢一間位於溫哥華嘅咖啡店就係其中第一批同佢哋平台合作嘅食品供應方。
So I personally have heard about it when I started with the company about 1.5 years ago. But I know that we started it around 2 years ago at the Alma location. So that's how I got to know about it.
現時該咖啡店已經係同 Vancouver Food Runners 平台達成長期合作關係，佢哋會定期同平台聯絡，將當日未賣出嘅烘焙食品捐贈出去。Roberts 同埋店員都好關注到食品浪費問題，佢哋表示同平台嘅觀念十分合拍，雙方嘅合作亦都好方便融合。
So at the end of the day, when we have leftovers, we will seal the product and we donate it. Usually, we keep it for 1 or 2 days, and then we will donate it to food runners. Yeah, we are on board already for like 2 years. I think we were one of the first participants, and we have pickup times at this location and at the other location like twice a week. Here at the commercial location, it's Monday and Thursday. And we have a contact person that is very easy to reach. We just give her a call and yeah.
喺採訪當日啱啱過去嘅週末，適逢咖啡店舉辦過活動，因此店內剩低冇幾多未賣完嘅肉桂卷。店方已經係同平台聯絡，並且安排喺當日上午11點有義工過嚟提取食品，送到去附近嘅一間非牟利慈善組織 City Rich Care Society。而呢一日嘅義工就係仲係讀緊高中嘅 Otis Yuen 同佢嘅母親。
Boxes this time, I guess.
Yeah, we'll help with the other one.
Yeah, hold on. Here. Oops. Every Monday I do one, and also occasionally one they pop up, which is about twice a week for the one-time ones.
Otis 嘅母親最初係通過社交媒體睇到呢一個食物捐贈配送平台嘅相關信息，而 Otis 就係通過佢母親了解到呢一個平台。仲係讀緊高中嘅佢，平日係由父母駕車協助佢運送食物， 而 Otis 就表示，正係成為咗 Food Runners 義工之後，引發咗佢對現時食物浪費問題嘅更多關注。
Once I got into Vancouver Food Runners and started doing my own research on why Vancouver Food Runners started, I kind of saw how it's been it kind of became a bigger issue for me.
佢同母親都表示，成為義工唔單止係想解決食物浪費造成嘅環保問題，而每一次嘅食物運送都係幫助到一班面臨食物短缺嘅人。
Each rescue that I've done, we're carrying about 100-ish pounds of food, so that's enough to feed them for the next feed a person for the next at least week. So yeah, this much food. So once you kind of see how much food you're actually bringing from the restaurants to the shelters, you can actually you'll actually realize the impact of the doing the rescues, I guess.
Otis 唔覺得每星期2次嘅義工行動會令佢過於忙碌。現時佢固定每個星期會利用一次午餐45分鐘嘅時間運送食物，而另一次佢就會選擇喺週末進行。佢自己亦都致力於向周圍嘅同學宣傳呢一個平台，希望有越嚟越多人能夠加入，成為食物拯救嘅一員。
A couple of presentations about Vancouver Food Runners and why reducing food waste is good. So yeah, I definitely think if you have the time, perhaps even an hour or so, and if you have a car, then definitely you should be doing this because yeah, it's pretty easy to do most of the time. So yeah.
當日從咖啡店獲得食物之後 ，Otis 將佢哋送往非牟利組織 City Rich Care Society。該組織亦都係2020年第一批同 Vancouver Food Runners 建立伙伴關係嘅社區慈善組織。疫情期間，義工將好多食材送到呢一度，再由佢哋對所需家庭進行分配。咁現時義工固定每個星期都會將食物送到呢一度。
At the onset of the COVID pandemic, the needs for our program were increasing rapidly. The need for food security in Vancouver was increasing exponentially, and so we were so grateful that they came on board as one of our partners during that crucial time.
作為慈善組織嘅成員 ，Cheryl 對於本省浪費食物，但另一方面又有大量因為缺乏食物而面對生活困境嘅家庭，有好深刻嘅體會。
We are always so joyful when they bring their donations here to our facility. We run a food bank weekly called Food for Families, and so we serve 1,000 households every single week, seniors, individuals, and families with children. And so all of the food donations that we receive from Vancouver Food Runners and our other partners go directly into the hands of those families and individuals in need.
City Rich Care Society 去年提供超過1萬份嘅膳食。而呢啲原本面臨被浪費嘅食物都被送到餐桌上。2年過去，呢一啲起初同 Vancouver Food Runners 合作嘅捐贈企業同社區團體，唔單止達成咗長期合作關係，亦都將呢一個食材拯救平台進行推廣。現時 Tristan 嘅團隊已經有160個固定食材捐贈者、105個社區慈善組織以及350多名活躍義工。咁樣嘅發展速度令到 Tristan 十分欣慰。
Once we gained traction and once more volunteers showed up, they started telling their friends in the restaurant industry and the catering industry about the technology and how easy it was for them to get rid of their food and give it to someone that needed it. And so it really became it kind of spiraled and people started, really believing in what we were doing, and that's how we grew so quickly.
呢一個食物拯救平台成立咗2週年，從成立初期至今，一共已經拯救咗100萬磅嘅食材。休息返嚟，我哋會一齊去了解一下疫情對於大溫地區食物浪費問題造成啲乜嘢影響。而近幾年啊，喺各個地區食物浪費嘅情況又有啲乜嘢改善？ 歡迎返嚟節目時間。有調查就發現，本國嘅食品包裝上嘅標示咧唔明確，係導致公眾將原本可以食用嘅食材丟棄，造成浪費嘅主要原因之一。咁相關嘅委員會對此又有啲乜嘢嘅建議呢？全國零浪費委員會係結合政府、社區、業界成立嘅全國性組織，致力於解決本國家庭嘅食物浪費。咁早喺2019年，我哋曾經採訪過當時嘅委員會主席 Malcolm Brody 馬保定，佢表示多次聽到有消費者因為食品包裝期限標示不詳，導致食品浪費。而包裝上嘅日期通常係家庭決定是否要丟棄食物嘅依照。但係本國嘅食品標籤並唔統一，經常可以見到嘅包括有食用日期或者係最佳品嚐期限、在此日期前食用，或者係出售截止日期、有效日期、保存期限、製造日期等等。好多日期代表嘅只係食物嘅最佳口感或者係風味期限，同安全及健康無關。
When you see on the food packaging a date, it could say best before or use by or expiry date or a number of other descriptions. That is really meaningless. But people, when they see that date, whether they're a food retailer, the grocery stores, whether people are consumers just using the products or anyone else, when you get close to that date, people get nervous and they tend to throw the food away.
根據2019年1月多倫多非牟利機構 Second Harvest 發表嘅報告就指出，國民每年浪費嘅食物包裝打印日期意義不明係最大嘅原因之一。委員會當時正致力推動聯邦政府立法，強制對食物限期進行清楚而且統一嘅標示，希望仲能夠食用嘅食材唔好輕易被丟棄。
If you see a certain phrase, it has a certain meaning. So it's best before. It could mean that just what it says, it's best before that date. Does it mean that it's not usable afterwards? Does it mean that it loses nutritional value? Does it mean it changes in appearance? What does that date mean?
到咗現時，食品包裝標示唔明確嘅問題是否仍然存在呢？現任全國零浪費委員會主席 Jack Frost 喺訪問之中就有咁樣嘅回應。
One thing that National Zero Waste Council is doing is working with the federal government to try and get those changes. And at this point, I haven't heard that they're making those changes, but we're constantly working to, because it's important that different labeling could be put on. It could be freeze by this date, or it could be a peak freshness is on this date, rather than best before. I think best before is a bit misleading.
好多超市將一啲所列期限就快到嘅食品減價出售，但係好多客人對於標籤嘅意義就唔太清楚。包裝上一旦標示 Best Before Day 係減價嘅當日，好多人就可能會認為隔一日就唔能夠再食用，但係事實並非如此。Jack Frost 表示，部分食物如果放入冷凍就可以延長食物嘅食用期限。疫情期間，政府臨時頒布嘅衛生禁令，令到好多餐廳被迫要喺24小時之內暫停營業。其中唔少店主仲係啱啱補給存貨，導致大量嘅食材捐贈俾社區慈善機構，但係亦都有大部分食材最終被浪費。Jack Frost 就表示，疫情初期各項嘅法規唔夠明確同統一，的確導致有唔少商家儲存嘅食物受到損失。希望從中吸取教訓，唔再發生同類事件。唔單止係餐飲業，疫情期間公眾嘅購物習慣出現改變，亦都係引發食物等其他商品被浪費嘅因素之一。
We didn't want to go out that often, so we made fewer trips to the grocery store and bought more food, and then wanted it packaged differently so you could use it, as meal planning and that sort of thing. So there certainly were challenges that the food industry found.
而喺一啲大型超市嘅貨架上，琳琅滿目嘅食物睇嚟應有盡有，其實已經係生產商或者係商家經過第一層嘅挑選過濾。尤其係新鮮嘅蔬果類，唔係所有農莊物生產出嚟都有大家喺超市見到嘅亮麗賣相，往往喺呢個階段就出現咗第一層嘅食物浪費。過去我哋就曾經訪問過溫哥華一個名為 Food Stash 嘅非牟利團體，向唔同商家索取賣唔出或者係唔想要嘅多餘食物，再攞返嚟重新整理分配，避免可食用食材被浪費。
Often when it's it's supposed to be wasted, and the food is like the good is mixed with the bad, and there's like moldy strawberries, but there's perfectly edible apples. So what we do, we sort through everything, compost what needs to be composted, and store what can be used.
整理食材嘅過程之中，義工們都好驚訝。好多時候，商家同民眾將食物嘅賣相同新鮮度掛鈎。咁走入 Food Stash 嘅貨倉就好似走入超市咁，可以見到佢哋從商家以及超市攞返嚟嘅食物，其中好多都係可食用㗎。
Just drive by the back of any supermarket, any restaurant, and see what gets tossed out. And so much of it's so good, and it just needs that extra sort through to be able to go out to the people in need of it. You know, we get a case of eggs that's got one broken egg. Well, we've got 11 that we can box and give to somebody as a 6-pack of eggs. So much of it is in great shape. You know, it's just not necessarily sellable in the supermarket. So this fills that void really well.
呢一個社區組織將可食用嘅食材提供俾所需民眾。咁如今3年過去，組織擴大咗好多，幫助咗更多家庭。
So we partner with over 30 social service organizations here that work on issues like homelessness and mental health and substance use, and we provide them with food to use in their own programs to kind of build that community with their clients. So that's about 85% of the food that we rescue is going to those partner organizations.
咁而剩翻嘅15%，該機構就有義工將食材包裝好，每個星期分發俾所需嘅服務對象。100個食物短缺嘅家庭，或者係放喺門口呢一個冰箱，咁附近有需要嘅人就可以自行獲取。咁而平均每個月 Food Stash 拯救嘅可食用食材，大約係有7萬至到72000磅。
So we added on a lot more food box members. We're up to 100 families now. A lot more families on our wait list, so we're still trying to grow that program.
但係該機構過去曾經表示，取得呢啲食材並唔容易。除咗經常合作嘅連鎖大型超市之外，並唔係所有嘅商家都樂於參與。
There is still a little bit of resistance on the part of some stores. I think it's mostly because of liability, because there's a lot of store owners that are not aware that in BC, specifically, we have the Food Donor Encouragement Act, which protects basically any person or like enterprises or a store that donates food not for profit.
咁到咗現時，是否有更多嘅商家企業了解到法律嘅存在，並且願意加入捐贈食材嘅行列呢？
We found that it's really helped in doing that. The work that we've done is the same as the BC Centre for Disease Control, and it's very similar. So we've heard from these businesses that interpreting the law has helped them and given them more comfort in making these donations.
人類所造成嘅食物損失以及浪費，最終導致要付出巨大代價，例如係食物堆填造成嘅環境問題。Jack Frost 就指出，委員會幾年之前開始喺大溫地區推動嘅綠色廚餘桶，目前成效顯著。
We found that the Green Bin program has, it's over 91% participation, which is really, really good. And we're still finding that some organics are finding their way into landfills, and people are learning about it.
2019年嘅報告顯示，本國每個家庭平均每年浪費1700蚊嘅食物。咁喺呢一次訪問之中 ，Jack Frost 就表示，有數據顯示，目前該數字已經減至1300蚊。但係未來公眾喺解決食物浪費方面，仲有一段好長嘅路要行。好啦，今集嘅節目時間呢又差唔多啦。咁如果觀眾對我哋嘅節目有啲乜嘢意見嘅話呢，係好歡迎大家以電郵嘅方式同我哋聯絡㗎。我哋嘅電郵地址係 mag26@fairchildtv.com。咁如果觀眾想重溫翻今集嘅節目，亦都可以上到去我哋嘅網站，點擊節目重溫一欄就可以睇得翻㗎啦。下星期同樣時間再同大家見面，晚安。